Hi there, thank you for logging in. It's an immense pleasure to have you all here. It's your host, Jessie Valencia from Master of Management, and I'm beyond thrilled to be having this wonderful session with you. Welcome to BINUS iWeek 2022. Be a global citizen embracing cultural diversity in the interconnected world. This is the 18th implementation of BINUS iWeek organized by BINUS Global. BINUS iWeek 2022 gathers local and international students of BINUS University and representatives from international institutions to celebrate diversity as well as recognize, appreciate, and learn about other cultures around the world. And on this opportunity, we are pleased and honored to play a host to a presentation from Ms. Winnie Tan, Marketing Manager from Catch Play Taiwan. She will be sharing her perspective on distribution of Taiwanese cinema and series in Indonesia's streaming services. But before going any further, I'd like to inform you of our housekeeping rules. First, please help make sure your microphone is turned off to avoid noises that can disrupt the presentation. Second, we will be very happy if you can join us with your camera on so we can see your handsome and beautiful faces, feel your warm virtual presence, and build a friendlier virtual environment. BINUS students must change their display name with the format displayed on the screen. Use your student ID and full name. And also, after the presentation is finished, we will be having a Q&A session. So we want your active participation by giving responses or asking questions. You can type your question on the public chat column or use your microphone to speak directly to the speakers. Finally, Venusian, please remain in the room until the end of the session as we will need you to complete an exit ticket. Exit ticket is required to record your attendance and it is a vital part of making your SAT points submission. And here is something exciting. We are giving out e-wallet for 2 participants who address questions and we will select and announce the winners at the end of the session. And please don't forget to go visit our link at global.binus.ac.id/iWeek or to check out more of our live session like this. All right, let us jump into the core agenda for today. We are here for a presentation from Ms. Pinitan on distribution of Taiwanese cinemas and series in Indonesia streaming services. And to lead this session, I'm happy to hand the screen over to our moderator, Mr. Eki Imanjaya from Film Department. To Mr. Eki, the time is yours.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Ms. Jessie Valencia. My name is Eki Manjaya. I'm a lecturer from Film Department at BINUS University, and we are very honored and very happy to have Ms. Penny Tan, Marketing Manager of Catch Play, which located in Taipei, in Taiwan. And as well, you know, this is a part of International Week 2022, the first session of the day 5, Friday, 8th of April, and we will have this discussion from 1:30 until up to 3 o'clock. So after when the pandemic came and happened in March 2020, people switched their habit to OTT or over the top, or we also know by the name of like internet or online platform or streaming services and so on. And we have in Indonesia, we have so many, and Catch Play is one of them. And we are happy to have Miss Penny Tan. How are you, Miss Penny Tan?
I'm good. Yeah. Really happy to see so many people joining us today. Yeah. So hopefully after today, you guys will get a bit more, a bit more insights on how OTT actually works. And hope that you will find this session interesting.
Okay, and for your information, we have 300 participants so far. Yeah, well, it's just many, and hopefully, the students or lecturers, if you are here, please feel free to ask questions about how OTT or in this case Catch Play works. Yeah, how the film programming, how they choose the film or the series, and how they maintain. And because for me, because I also watch Catch Play, there are some some benefits if I watch Catch Play. The first is Catch Play has Doctor Who series, because I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, and the second one, Catch Play has new films fresh from the cinema. It's like only 2 or 3 weeks or a month or less, yeah. The new films, the new film box office, blockbuster ones, and then of course the third one is they have so many Taiwanese and Mandarin films, and the last but not least, they also have the website, yeah, the articles. That's very interesting, because the articles about the films, about the actors, the filmmakers, and the situation about in film industry in Hollywood, in Taiwan, and in the Asia in general. Yeah. So without further ado, probably I will ask the first session. I will ask Miss Penny Tan, and she will do some short presentation to refresh our mind about Catch Play, and then I will have a Q&A, like the short one. After that, I will invite all the participants to ask questions. Yeah, ask when feel free. Yeah, feel free to ask questions related to how OTT works or about Catch Play in general. And we have also another surprise, but I will let Miss Penny Tan to tell you. Okay, the first will be please tell us a bit, remind our mind about what is Catch Play all about, and how and what is so unique, and why we should subscribe, or how we should watch Catch Play. What is the the mapping of Catch Play among other OTTs?
Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so I hope that my screen is now shared.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So like what Aiki say, who is actually Catch Play? Catch Play is actually one of the biggest film content company from Taiwan. Our HQ is in Taiwan, and right now we are operating in Taiwan, Singapore, and also Indonesia. Now, for Catch Play, what it means by a what it means by the content company is that in Taiwan, we're actually focusing in distributing movies, and actually we try to engage with the production house or the studio as early as in the investment or the financing stage. So meaning that there are some movies, if we think that it's going to be successful, we might actually invest them in terms of productions or finance them for the productions. And after we produce or after we go into co-production, Catch Play in Taiwan actually distribute the movies up to the cinemas. And then it goes to home videos, it goes to digital platforms like all the OTT services. Of course, Catch Play is one of them. And then it goes to the linear movie channel, which is like, you know, when you watch like probably if you have IndiHome, you watch like the channels, you would see some movie channels inside. So we distribute some of the movies to these channels. And then in the end, we actually work with some licensing deals, meaning that we can actually license our movies, the movies that we distribute, to our other either platforms or other distributors who wants to also distribute or share the films with the other. So this is what it is in Taiwan, and that is how we actually started. So we've been in this movie industry for over 15 years, and we started with the very traditional way of theater distributions. And because we have a very good connections with other studios, with the producers, with the directors, we thought that why don't we try to establish a digital service, which is actually allow people to stream these movies online. And that's how Catch Play Plus started as a digital service. Actually, we haven't run the digital platform for too long. It's probably been just around 5 to 6 years. And we're excited to see that it could grow so much with just over 5 to 6 years. And because the market right now is shifting, people are trying to stream or watch any content, you know, trying to get it anytime, anywhere they want. So digital service become one of the main way of how people start to watch content. And so that become one of the main reasons of why, apart from distributing in the very traditional cinemas, we also try to distribute it distributed online. And so, like I said, because we try to invest in some Hollywood studio productions. So, for example, we actually work with new agencies, and then we actually co-finance in good titles like Assassin's Creed, The Revenant, Splinter Cells. And for Silence, we also work with them when they try to do productions. Actually, for these movies, a lot of part of the productions actually are done in Taiwan. And we were kind of like the bridge for them to actually bring them into Taiwan and then try to help them out with, how the process and help them to get a smoother process when they want to shoot in Taiwan. Because, when Hollywood, when they move overseas to shoot to produce a big movie, sometimes it can be a little bit hard or complicated for them. So with Catch Play, one of our things is really to not just only bring Hollywoods to Asia, but also to bring Asia to the Hollywood. So actually for these movies, we work with them quite closely for that. Now, with what Catch Play right now, what we focus in, like what Eki says, Catch Play has a lot of new movies. So, for example, starting from next week, we'll be expecting Spider-Man No Way Home is one of, I will see the most exciting titles that everyone is waiting for. We have our fans and lovers already like asking us every day, when is this coming up? So if you're a Spider-Man fans, yeah, it's coming up next week. So we have like other very top titles like Venom, Spider-Man, Resident Evil, Scream, Ghostbuster, Matrix, and a lot of them, these are the very, very new titles. So for Catch Play, we try to bring in the strongest movies with a very high value to actually attract our attention of the audience. Now, we also, apart from these titles, like we call them the studio titles meaning like titles produced by Warner Bros, produced by Sony's. We also work a lot with independent studios. Now, independent studios are very important because they actually produce a lot of high quality content, but sometimes it's because maybe in terms of financial wise, they might not be as as they might not have as much resources as the other studios. So some of the good movies that they produce actually did not get marketed as much. So actually in the end, like less people heard about their movies, which is a shame because some of their titles are really good. So one of the big aim for Catch Play is to work with all these independent studios and bring in any movies that we think is interesting and really try to bring it out to all of our audience, especially in Indonesia. So we have over 5 to 6 millions of subscribers. We really hope that these people can actually get access into these not just the movies like we've always been watching in the cinemas, but also access movies that have not been in the cinemas. Now there are some like these SVOD titles, which I think we might discuss a little bit more on, when it comes to OTT, we will hear about words like SVOD, TVOD. What are they? I think we might talk about that a bit more in the Q&A sessions, but we also bring in a lot of series and a lot of leading titles that can keep basically just to let all the movie fans to binge watch at home. And then, yeah, like we also try to work with as much studios as possible so that all of our titles can look very interesting. And one of the very main focus apart from Hollywood, I would say that Catch Play comes into Indonesia with a very high focus in Hollywood titles. But right now we are also slowly trying to shift some of our focus into the Asian titles, because we realize that the Asian titles are actually getting a lot of tractions and a lot of interest from the audience, especially for the audience in Indonesia. So right now we actually focus in getting in some really good Indonesian films. We try to get in as much as Japanese films, Korean films. We have a lot of animes. So if you are a big fan of Attack on Titan, that's Catch Play is one of the legal way on how you can actually watch it. And I think Attack on Titan, the final episode, it's coming up. And then we work with documentary studios. So we actually try to enhance the library with a lot more indie, Asians, and local hits. And of course, Taiwanese content is one of them, because we're based in Taiwan, and of course we have a deeper connection with the studios or the production house in Taiwan. So it's actually also one of our way or one of our goal to bring the Taiwanese content out, hopefully that the people globally can actually watch it. Now, apart from actually bringing in like Asian content film series, we actually also try to make original series. The first one actually is which is currently in production. It's Lost Man Melati. Lost Man Melati is one of our first originals for our first Indonesian originals. So which is now in production. We are very excited about it. It's a horror and thriller series, and we hope that this will actually excite our fans in Indonesia. But if you see the banners at the bottom four, we have Making of Ordinary Woman, Twisted Strings, These Talk Trinity of Shadows. These four are one of the major original series that we just last year and this year, and these are the top content in Taiwan that actually generated a lot of and one of interest. Now, so with the content highlight, I think I will not go over it again because we already mentioned in the beginning. So we have like early access. So while the movie is still playing on the cinemas, we try our best to actually deal with studios to hope that we can actually stream along with them. If not at the same time, hopefully that our windows will not be too long while they're still in the cinemas. We try to bring in as much as new films as possible. If there is a way, we will try our best to actually buy some of the titles with exclusive rights, meaning that it is only available on Catchplay Plus. So that's also been one of the way on how we actually keep our students, not our students, our fans engaged. Because when there are exclusive titles, they will feel like, okay, right, so there is actually a reason to subscribe to the platform, because one of the movies that I really like, it's actually exclusively on Catchplay. And if I want to support, my favorite actor or actress, the best way is to actually watch it legally rather than, going to some of the pirate sites. Because of the pandemic, we've noticed that the watching hours of our fans, the behaviors are changing. The time that they watch has becoming longer and longer. I guess it's because they've been home. They are used to being at home. Although right now it's good that the pandemic, everyone is kind of a bit getting used to it. So our activity and everything is getting back to normal. But I think it has become a new norm now that if they have nothing to do at home, they starting to switch around the TVs to find something to watch. So starting from last year, we have actually brought in a lot of TV series, because TV series is one of the main collections to keep the fans engaged, because they would want to binge watch it. So some of the best TV series we have range from series that we bought from the US or from the UK, like Pak Eki says, for Doctor Who, we actually have a very close partnerships with BBC First Studios from UK. So we bring in all these titles like Killing Eve, one of the most popular title right now on Catchplay, to actually allow them to binge watch. So like I say, these are the whole, this is actually just a part of the series that we have from BBC First. BBC First is a studio from UK, and they have a lot of series, and a lot of the series is something like investigations or like criminal, these kind of criminal inspections, this kind of series. And these are the series that are that especially our Indonesian lovers really, really like. And because our demographics are getting younger and younger, we start to have more and more kids watching it. We started to have more and more teenagers watching Catchplay. So we actually realized that one of the things that they really want to get into is animes. So every time when the new episode for Attack on Titan go on board, Attack on Titan will always be one of the top 5 titles that are watched on the same day. It's the same thing for Demon Slayer. So our fans will actually will actually wait on Catchplay and actually watch the title as soon as it's actually on board or refreshed. So for Catch Play itself, apart from all these titles that we try to bring in, what we try to do is we try to be a very tiny IMDb to allow a very broad level of discoverability of our content. So all of the things that you see on Catch Play are clickable. You can click, the director, and we'll tell you that if you like this director, what are the other shows that they have on Catch Play, the cast and crew. If you are a big fan of The Rock, you will see that what are the films that we have from The Rock. We have news, which is one of the things that Pak Eki mentioned. One of the unique things on Catch Play is we have this one whole collection called The Editor Says, which we write a lot of articles about movies, about how we feel about them. Sometimes we invite writers, movie critics, or sometimes these titles come from our in-house editors. We write about movies, we write about why you should watch a certain movies, something like Easter eggs of movies. These kind of articles has always been exciting for our fans, because sometimes after they watch something, they will actually want to read some articles related to it so that they can understand more about the movies that they actually like. Now with our demographics right now, we have over 8 million subs, and we noticed that average per day, they watch around 3 hours. So if we say that on average, one movie is about like 1.5 to 2 hours, which means that this usually our audience will watch more than one movies, or maybe it just means that I've watched like 3 episodes of like series, because usually series is like range from 15 to 1 hour. So which means like they watch a lot of things, which is like I say, we try to bring in as much series as possible, because we realize that the watching hours for them is getting longer and longer. And with Catch Play, actually, it's a little bit more interesting that we have a little bit more men than women. We have 55% male and then 45% female. And that's actually because I think when we entered the market, we have a little bit more Hollywood content, and Hollywood content are usually focused in genres like thriller, actions. Those are the movies who tends to attract more men. And right now, our women segment, it's actually slowly increasing. When by the time we add in more Asian content, like right now we have more Korean content, we have Korean series, and we see that the woman segmentations or the watching hours from the women's are getting more and more, because there are more content that they are excited about. So these are the exciting things about OTT, is nothing is fixed, and then we can actually see all the data and make changes as soon as we see that there is a trend. As soon as we see that, the women watching hours are increasing, so we can start thinking, what do the women want to watch? Do they want to watch more horror films? Not really. Maybe they want to watch more Korean films, right? Maybe time to work closer with the Korean studios and see if there are other Korean series that we can add into our libraries to actually keep them more engaged. And so for the age, actually, just like every OTT service, the age of the watchers are very, very young, range from actually right now, the most of them it's from the 18 to the 45. So because I guess it's the younger generations of especially the Gen Zs, that they want something fast and easy. They want to be able to access the movie anytime they want. So they turn into a more digital service rather than the traditional way of maybe catching it on the cinemas or maybe on the traditional TVs. Of course, those are still one of the main ways on how people actually watch movies, especially cinemas from the first hand. But basically, I think it's the pandemic. It's kind of to switch our behavior, that we try to stay more at home, and when we're bored at home, we try to watch something. Yeah. So this is just a little bit of a very brief introduction about Catch Play. So I guess like with more information, I'll leave it back to Pak Eki or the students. If you guys have any questions, yeah, feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Penny Tan. I think everything is there. I don't know what questions should I ask, but I need to refresh our mind that why we invited Catch Play from Taiwan, because the first we have film department, in BINUS University, and in film department we have so many courses related to OTTs, or for example alternative distribution and film festival, and then we have new media production. We have also cultural studies and new media, as well as global cinema and so on. And the second one, since last year we have Taiwan Studies Nusantara, and I'm part of the organization. So we need to, to make a program for better understanding and mutual understanding, to understand better about Taiwanese cultures, particularly pop culture. Yeah, and of course, Catch Play is part of it. Okay, since the title is about Taiwanese distribution, probably can elaborate more about Taiwanese series and films available on Catch Play in Indonesia. Yeah. So I watched some movies actually, but I want to hear like, so like what kind of, I think from the horror one and to the the tea party or something. Yeah, it's like very various topic, various genres. Yeah, please.
Yeah. Actually, for Catchplay right now, if you could go to catchplay.com, and then you will see that we have a lot of genres. We have one genre, I think we call it the film Mandarin. So we actually put all of our Mandarin films there, and also our series is also there. So you can find a whole collection there. But we try to bring in the very interesting, or the series that works very well in Taiwan. We really try hard to push it to our audience in Indonesia. I think one of the most watched one, especially recently, is Someday and One Day. I think this series recently, Someday or One Day actually, this series recently become very, very popular because Korea is making a remake of it. And so everyone is interested to rewatch the original version again, so that they can make a comparison on the original ones and the Korean ones. So Someday or One Day did really, really well in Taiwan when they actually first distributed on the TV channels and on the digital sessions. It works very well. So those are the things that we try to bring in. And of course, like I say, Catch Play actually we actually made a lot of original series in Taiwan. So of course, for those series in Indonesia, they will be exclusive, that you can only watch it on Catch Play. So another, I would say that the second most watched is one of our original content called The Making of Ordinary Woman. Making of Ordinary Woman, it's kind of like a comedy romance, so it's very light and funny to watch. And so we realized that there's actually our Indonesian fans actually finds that movie kind of funny to watch as well. So of course, when we try to bring in movies from Taiwan, there will be movies that it works very well in Taiwan, but it works only okay-ish in Indonesia, and vice versa. There are things that works only okay in Taiwan, but works really, really well in Indonesia. So of course, like it all depends on the storylines, on the genre. So for example, one of the very, very good movies, a series actually, we tried to bring in from Taiwan. It's the World Between Us. It's a very, I will say that it's a very philosophical, a very biographical, very heavy and heart heavy kind of movie that is discussing about, about should death penalty be there for people who actually committed murder. So it's a very serious topic that works very well in Taiwan. When that series hits in Taiwan, we were one of the exclusive distributor for that series.
Yeah.
It works so well in Taiwan. So when we introduced it in Indonesia, we realized that the fans actually commented to us and say, it's a very good movie with a very high rating, but we find that a little bit heavy to watch. It kind of makes us a little bit, it's a bit too serious to watch. So we try to bring in something else, maybe like a horror series from Taiwan that didn't really perform that well in Taiwan, but surprisingly, the watch rate for Indonesia fans are very, very high. So when it comes to like this kind of thing, that we keep on trying, and as long as we find something interesting, we will try to actually bring it out to our fans in Indonesia for them to watch it, and hopefully that they will like it as well. But if that's not the case, we will keep on finding and keep on trying new content and until we hit the point that we realize like, okay, this is the content that they really like.
Yeah, I heard about this the horror series. Is it like similar to Black Mirror or Twilight Zone, right? Is it a string something? Yeah? Twisted string. Yeah, is it already available or on?
I think it's already available.
Okay.
Actually, Twisted String is just produced like beginning of the year. So right now, actually, I think it's very new and it's just on Catch Play.
Wow. Yeah. I will. Yeah. I will try to watch it later today.
It's a very interesting fictional kind of series.
Yeah, because I like I like horror and Twilight Zone ish the topic. Yeah, and of course as a film lecturer, I also we can the good thing about Catch Play is you have so many directed by who, and then we can click another, so we will know another director's works, and so I will usually I will find some movies by searching the name of the directors like Ang Lee or Sylvia Chang, or the if I'm not mistaken, one of the biggest film festival in there is Golden Horse, Golden Horse. So I will type Golden Horse or Cannes or something, the award winning something, so it will automatically appear. Or if you want to search the specific films, but of course you can also, you have so many genres and category. You have like unique one, like even you have like B movies, and then and so many animated, you have like Disney, and then from other countries and so on, and you also have from Iceland, and from from the countries that we never heard of about the cinematic works, and that's very interesting for me. Okay.
And actually, I can share there is one more movie from Taiwan. It's not a series, but this is a movie, but works really well in Indonesia. It's called Sidik.
Oh yeah.
Actually, that is a movie about war that used to happen from the original time in Taiwan, where they try to fight against the Japanese. That movie works so well in Indonesia, and we actually made a quick check, like, or ask our fans around, like, what's the thing that actually makes you guys like this movie so much? Because it's not a very, very big film with like very big stars and cast, but somehow people just really like to watch it. And then we found out that the people mentioned that they realized that the language, the Aboriginal language spoken by them, is actually a little bit similar to Indonesians. And then they find it interesting that they can actually understand some of their language. So they start to spread around to their fans, like, hey, do you know like the Aboriginals in Taiwan? They actually have some language like similar to us. Like, for example, they are me, it's also called saya. So they feel they feel so interested by that. And then people started to watch it, and then they share around their fans. Yeah, so that will be one of the very interesting movies to watch too, I will say.
Yeah. I remember it's about the local people, the indigenous people, Oh yeah, I almost forget, because BINUS Taiwan Studies and Catch Play already did some collaboration, including we republished the article from Catch Play into Taiwan Studies Nusantara website and BINUS Film website as well. I think Sadik Bali, if I'm not mistaken, the title. Sadik Bali is already available to watch, to read the articles, and probably you can just click the link. Okay, I think we have few questions from the students. If you want to ask question, please mention your name, yeah, because it's difficult for me to read. Okay, first I have a couple questions. Does Catchplay provide a separated user profile, and how do you attract customers that already subscribe to other streaming services?
Sorry, what kind of profile?
Catchplay provide a separated user profile. I don't know what it is. And how do you attract customers that already subscribe to other streaming services? I think it's about why should we subscribe? What is the uniqueness of Catchplay?
Excuse me, sorry to interrupt. I want to elaborate on separated user profile. I mean that in other streaming services, in one account, two people can access it, use profile. So for example, me and my friend could share one account. So I was wondering, does Catchplay have that kind of feature? And how does it cope or attract a customer that already subscribed to a different services?
Okay. Actually, we do allow two streaming at the same times. It's just that we don't have a separate profile just yet. That is actually still under developing. But right now, you can actually share account with one of your friends. So we allow two devices to stream at the same time. And regarding to how we actually attract other subscribers, is that I will say that right now for the OTT on the market, although it seems like it's very competitive and we are competing with each other, but you will find that each OTT actually has their very own strength. You will have OTT who focus in sports, some OTT who focus in Korean, some OTT focus a lot on Indonesian local drama and series. So from Catchplay, we focus on the blockbusters, the latest movies that comes down from the cinemas. So for example, Spider-Man, it's a bit hard to find it on the other OTTs. So that's the way, like the unique way on how we keep the fans engage or make them want to subscribe to us. So actually each OTT, they have their own uniqueness, and you will kind of tend to just attract different kind of people based on the content that you have on your platform. But of course, right now it's a new norm that we find out that from the research on the market, that people right now tend to subscribe to around two OTT services, because each OTT services, the content that they have might be a little bit too different. So they might have two because there are just different ways on watching it. And of course, one of the ways is we work very closely with our local partners like IndiHome, First Media, MNC Telkomsel. A lot of the telcos, a lot of the local partner is the partner that we work very, very close with them. And they are the ones who will actually, because they are a bit more like TV-ish people, they want to watch stuff. So they became one of a part of the main watcher as well.
Okay. Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
For answer.
No problem.
Okay. We move to the one who raised hands. Matthew, please.
Sorry. Good afternoon. My name is Matthew, and I have several. If you don't mind, I have around 3 questions because I'm kind of curious from a perspective of a marketing manager. So maybe if you don't have time, maybe I'll just do 2. So firstly, there's been growing controversy on the method of releasing called simultaneous releasing, which is when they release in the cinema and in the streaming services, right? So directors have been pushing to go against it because of it's ruining the experience. So I wonder what's your opinion on that, and is Catchplay Plus going to implement this method for future films that they're going to collaborate on?
Okay, actually to answer that, yes. Actually, Catchplay already have that. So for example, right now, for example, last month we have quite a bit of movies that are using this, like Resident Evil, Scream. We actually, it is available on Catchplay while it is still on the cinemas, which is a little bit different from how it would run traditionally. When it first launched this method, of course, I think the directors are quite against it because most of them, of course, they actually, it's not just the directors, the cinemas itself might not be as happy, because once it's available on the digital platform, you will expect that people will start watching it at home rather than actually going back to the cinemas to actually watch it. But because once the pandemic starts, I think that the production house, they have no choice but to do that, because when the cinemas are closed down, and people are at home craving for something to watch, it kind of put them in the position that they just have to do that. And then they really have to try to explain it to the cinemas that it's not that they want the cinema to close down, but it's just that they really have to leave, right? So there is no other way than allowing the OTT distributors to actually also air the film. So but of course, to give the fair window to the cinemas, they actually will still have about 3 weeks or 1 month ahead of us. So traditionally, we would more likely have to wait about 3 months until it's on the OTT. But right now, during the pandemic, we call it the PVOD, which is the premier video on demand, which we will actually get it 1 month after it airs on the cinema. So after 1 month, that's like probably already 4 weeks in the cinemas. So probably just around 2 to 3 weeks left until it actually comes down from the cinemas, right? So in this case, it makes it a little bit more acceptable from the cinema side. And yeah, it becomes like both, I will say, a win-win situation for all. And of course, one of the things is that if right now on Catch Play, right now we don't actually have any premiere movie going in, but I think starting from May, we might have something coming in as well. You will see that the pricing for all these premiere movies are slightly higher than the regular ones. The regular ones, you can rent the movie on Catch Play at 22,000 rupiah. But when it comes to premiere movies, you have to rent it at 55,000. That's how the studio actually try to keep it fair to everyone, actually, to the production house, to the cinema, so that it's not like the pricing can try to keep the pricing not too much different from the cinemas, so that the cinemas can still have like a bit of benefits for that. Yeah.
And you call it early access, yeah? It's called early access.
Yes, it's called the early access. Yeah. So actually, the rules apply for all OTT around the world, as long as they do something related to the early access or the premiere VOD. We follow the rules from the studios, and usually the studios will set the price. And usually the price, it's up to the studio to discuss with their local distributors, like how much are you selling on the cinemas, and how much should I position these on the digital platform so that it doesn't clash with you as much. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Next question is, I think I'll stop at this question. There has been a growing film community in Indonesia. So especially Taiwanese cinema has been like a growing interest here, especially from the films of Edward Yang, Hu Xiaoxian, and Tsai Ming-lang, as for example. Does Catch Play Plus have any films from Taiwanese New Wave or even world cinema? And if not, does the company have any intention of including this type of films?
Of course we do, but of course, like when we purchase content, like every content is based on territory kind of right. So the films that you see in Indonesia, if you come to Catch Play and if you come to Taiwan and you access Catch Play here, the content that you will see here is completely different. So of course, there are some movies that we really want to bring in, but they might have like some other rights that are already bought by some other companies, or maybe they already bought like global exclusive rights. But whenever we have the chance, we will definitely love to bring them in. But if you are a fan of Ho Xiaoxian, you really need to watch Twisted Strings.
Twisted Stringers, yes.
It's directed by him. It's just very interesting the way that he directs movies. Yeah. But when we have a chance, like all those like great movies, we will definitely like to bring them in. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, actually, I'll skip to this last question. It's very short. I'll assume that since you're working for a big streaming service in Taiwan, you yourself are a film fan, obviously. So, do you have any recommendations for us to get into Taiwanese cinema?
To get into Taiwanese cinema, I will say that actually, you mean like the Taiwanese films, or?
Yeah, Taiwanese films, preferably in your language. Yeah.
Actually, I haven't seen a lot of OTT that bring in as much as like Taiwanese films yet. I guess it's because some of the films are probably because of the right issues, or they're just not ready to actually release it globally yet, or maybe they're still waiting for how it works. Yeah, but I will say, like, keep an eye on Catch Play. I guess when it comes to Taiwanese, drama or movies, as long as there are like really good ones, we would really try to be the first to bring them in. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Sorry for the very long question.
Yeah.
No
and
problem.
If I may add, I already told everybody that if you want to search, just search the name of the director, like Ang Lee or Sylvia Chang, or the keyword such as golden horse, golden horse.
Yeah, golden horse. Yes.
Golden horse. So you can find like early films by Ang Lee or something like that. So I think it's a quite user friendly. If you just and they have also the articles, the articles discussing many film directors. Okay. Yes. Okay. Let's move to Stephanie Floresia, but I think the question is you have some question, but they are already asked. But do you want to answer the best choice? Because some of them they like what makes Catch Play app the best choice for many people to watch.
Okay. I think maybe I will maybe I can pick a few that it's interesting. There is one who says, just out of curiosity, is there any particular behavior difference when it comes to the subscribers from Taiwan, Singapore, and Indonesia? Definitely yes. The kind of movies that they want to watch is very, very different. For example, Indonesian fans are a bit more of horror thriller fans, not as much as a science fiction fans. But from Taiwan, they are science fiction fans and very biographical fans. So, for example, movies like Tenet, it's a little bit science fiction plus a little bit more drama-ish. So it does not work as well in Indonesia. Conjuring, Quiet Place, it works perfect in Indonesia, but not as much in Taiwan. And for Singapore, Singapore, it's also a bit of the similar case. Singapore is more like action-ish or actually series. So definitely the strategy to convince them is to understand your subscribers, pay attention on the watch rate. So on every month, we will conduct meetings or data analytics to see that what have our subscribers been watching, what have they not been watching. And you just have to know that, once you know the data, you will know that what are the next content that you need to purchase. Because if you already know that they like horror films, for example, you might want to enrich your horror films a little bit. And of course, you need to strike a balance, because you don't want people to come to Catch Play and then they see ghosts everywhere. And you want them to have a more balanced collections, like they know, oh, okay, if I'm, up to something exciting, maybe I want some horror films. But if I'm feeling a little bit more mellow today, I want some romance film. I'll make sure that they can find those on Catch Play as well. So those are definitely one of the very important, I would say, things to take care or to notice, to take note. And it works the same way for all OTTs. So I guess like with OTT, the great things is just that the data are just there. And you can make strategic changes based on the data that you actually see or read.
There is a question from my fellow lecturer from BINUS Film. So Miss Melody, is Catch Play interested to showcase short films? Also, are there any opportunities for students to pitch their series, Bible, or film concept to Catch Play?
Actually, I think we are not against short series. Like I say, I think in the beginning, actually, if there is any good works that has already been produced, feel free to share it with me. I'll share it with our relevant department, because on Catch Play, we have department who specialize in movie curations. We have department who specialize in content acquisitions, or the operation team. So they will be the one reviewing it and checking if we need any subtitles and etc. Can we actually upload it? When can it be uploaded? Those will be actually done by the other teams. But if there are any great works that you have already done and you think that it's suitable for the OTT audience to watch. Maybe after this you can share it maybe with Pak Eki, maybe Pak Eki can share it with us, and then we can have like an internal discussion about that. And then if it's suitable, we will definitely love to, because when it comes to OTT, it's like the more it's not that the more the better, it's like the wider the genre that you have, or the more variety you have, the better it is, because there's so many people there. And although, like I say, they like horror and thriller, but not everyone likes that. There are people who likes documentary, and we have people. We started to bring in a little bit more documentary since last year, and we realized there are really people who just watch documentary on Catchplay, but nothing else. So, yeah, like if it's like if your work is already done, yeah, feel free to share it with us. Yep.
And I'm wondering, could you tell us a bit more about Losmen Melati? I think that's one of the first original series, from Indonesia,
Yes.
from Infinite, from a Batam studio.
Infinite Studio. Yeah.
Is it 10 episodes and already available? Yeah.
No, right now it's
yet.
still in production. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So can you please tell a bit like
hopefully like it will work. I mean, it's a horror and thriller films, and we have read the script, and we are very excited because it's a very interesting script. And then we which I cannot disclose yet, but we do have like a very good cast that we believe is very suitable for the series. So we are really hoping that this series will actually work. And then after we actually, like I say, we try to do like a bit of a cross culture. So we try to bring in Taiwanese, series to here. We also try to bring Indonesian series or movies to Taiwan. So for example, in Indonesia, we have in Taiwan, we actually have the series, the movies like Pocong the Origin, some of like Bebas, yeah. So some of the great Indonesian content, we actually try to bring them to Taiwan as well, so that we can do this kind of like a bit of a cross-cultural sharing. And of course, like Losmen Melati, once we produce it, we will also hope that we can actually, have it in Taiwan as well. But then again, that's based on, after productions, there are a lot more stages that we have to go through before we decide which platform we want to place the movie on, because right now we're the production house. So we will have to go through a lot of distributors, a lot of different distributions agreement, which countries, or do we have all rights or something like that, to then decide if we can actually bring it to Taiwan.
Okay. I actually Google it, the cast of Losmen Melati would be Alexandra Gotardo, Martino Leo from the Seperti Dendam, and then Kiki Narendra, and that's exciting for me.
Okay. Yeah, it's very exciting.
I'm looking forward for the series.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Which one do you want to pick?
All right, there is somebody who asked, like, because of the pandemic, so people start to watch more, OTT. Will it actually impact the theater permanently in the future? No, I think it's no, because watching in theater, after all, it's a very different kind of experience. And like I said, although there is simultaneous streaming, we are actually still around 3 weeks or 1 month behind the cinema. So if you want to watch the first hand, it will always still be in the cinemas. Of course, there are some studios who play around the roads a little bit, like in a different way, but most studios, they will still stick with that, like giving cinemas at least a 2 to 4 weeks of windows for them to be in the cinema first, then to the OTT. So with a big fan of movie, even me, like I will watch Spider-Man in the cinema first, then I want to rewatch it on the OTT. So I think it will not really impact it, because they are actually different. I mean, of course, they will have a little bit of impact, but I will not say that it's a huge impact permanently. Yeah, I don't really think so.
Next. Yeah. Thank you. Or if anyone wants to ask directly, just raise your hand. Because we have two vouchers,
Yeah.
2 vouchers.
there is someone who asked, what do we think about pirate movies? Because people don't watch movies every day, so why do they want to subscribe? I think that brings me back to like the reason why we have expand our, series collection. So once you have something to binge watch, you might want to stay there because there's something that you want to catch every day. But of course, when we go into Indonesia, we realize that this is the market behavior, that people tend to not want to subscribe for the whole month because they feel like maybe I only want to watch that one movie. That is why on Catchplay, apart from actually subscribing for the whole month, you can rent every movie just by single rental. So let's say for the whole month, our subscription fees is 45,000 rupiah. But if let's say there's only this one movie that you really want to watch, you can rent that movie. It's just that movie with either 15,000 or 22,000, based on how old or new the movie is. The slightly older titles will be 15, the newer ones will be 22. But of course, we try to encourage our fans, like, if you browse through the collections and you see that there is more than two or more than one movies that you think you might want to watch, in the end, it's probably still more worth it to subscribe for the month. Because with subscriptions you can watch so much more things, not just one movie. You can watch like series and etc. So if you're the kind of audience who feel like, but I only want to watch that, and very specific, like I only want to watch that, yeah, then you could go for single rental. And what we think of pirate sites, I think pirate sites will always be there. It's always the biggest enemies from everyone, not just Catchplay, but the whole, and not just OTT, also for the cinemas, for the production house. But I think the thing is the pirate site will always be there. So what we can do is actually try our best to actually educate the market. Like, if you want to support the movie that you really like, you are a big fan of DC, the whole IP of DC heroes, then don't watch it pirates, because that way you're not actually supporting them, you're not helping. So we can only try our best to kind of like educate the market so that they understood that don't watch it on the pirate site. Okay.
Yeah, next.
I guess that's probably that. Because there are people who ask like about like other platforms, like View, Netflix, iQIYI, like I said, right? Like every apps, they are actually very unique. Like View, it's very Korean. Netflix is very more original series. iQIYI is very I think very Mandarin series dominated. But Catchplay is very latest Hollywood blockbuster dominated. So each of us has our own place, I will say. So I would say like they're not exactly plus or minuses or using which app. It all goes back to in the end what the audience want to watch. And I will say that sometimes we just tend to attract different people because they have their own preference. Yep, I think that's probably about it.
Yeah, some people ask about whether this title or that title will be available. So will lead me to the next question. How do you do the film programming or do the film curation, curatorial team? How do you pick the film and this is the right film for Indonesia or something like that?
With usually the content are picked by the content acquisitions or the curation team. So how it works is that once we have a deal with our production house or the movie distributors, sometimes they will first show us with the whole catalog of movies that they are available. And maybe let's say they will show us like 300s, and they will ask, can we choose like maybe we can choose 100 out of it. So from there, we'll probably go through it and first check like the IMDb rating, the genres. We'll try to pick some of them that are more suitable to our audience. Yeah, it's these kind of little things that we will go through and actually go through. But and actually, in the end, it's also goes back to the studios, because the studios usually have all rights on what kind of content that they want to have on the OTT. So for example, if the studios, they say, no, I don't want to have, let's say Spider-Man in anywhere on OTT, then we will not be able to have it. So it's actually a lot of back and forth conversations with the studios. And sometimes it's like, let's say around a few years ago, we had an exclusive rights for the Indonesian film Bebas. That was when we actually came across the film, and we thought it was really interesting. So we approached the studio and then to try to get a deal with them. So yeah, that's actually how it works. So it's either sometimes the studio will approach us with, the kind of movies that they have, and we can pick the movies and see if the prices or the deals make sense or affordable to us. Or we will go to them and propose like, oh, we came across these movies. Have you licensed it to anyone else, or are the rights still open for OTT or things like that?
I'm wondering, is it possible for you to tell us about the profit share, or is it if you, for example, Bebas or film for Indonesia, how do you share? Is it a royalty, or did you just pay in advance or something? Is it possible? How the things work?
Exactly share like how we actually share the cost, but because this is quite a confidential information. But I will say that every studios work very, very different, differently. Some studios, they will get a flat fee. Usually, like, let's say you pay me a fixed amount of money, I will give you that much of content, and if they really watch it or it sells really well, yep, that's good for you. And then there are some studios who work with revenue share. And
based on the click, based on the click or based on the viewers.
Also based on the studio. Some of them they will based on the watching hours. Some of them they will based on purchase. Yeah. So actually each and some of them they will go with like, let's say, minimum guarantee. In order to have my films, you have to at least pay me how much first. And then if you earn more in the end, then we do rev share. Yeah, there are a lot of different ways. And I would say that the content dealing deals are actually very, very, very complicated. And usually it has to be discussed like case by case or movies by movies. Yeah.
Great. There is one interesting question. Who's your favorite Taiwanese director? What's your favorite Taiwanese film? Probably available on Catch Play.
Actually, there is so much.
Do you prefer the romantic one or the horror one?
I think actually Taiwan has a little bit more. I think Taiwan has a little bit more romantic or biographical-ish movie than the horror ones. But actually, let me come back to you on that one because I cannot remember the name of the movie in English.
Just take your time.
Yes. Okay.
And then usually blockbuster watchers prefer to watch in the big screen at theaters just because of the experience. What made you think there's a market for blockbuster streaming?
Actually, it goes back to because the behavior of the people has changed already, and people they just stay home more. And then also the thing is, when you rent a movie at home, the thing is you can watch it with your whole family or your friends. So it's more like a watching together thing. It's a movie night kind of it's a movie night kind of thing, which is why we would say like, we realize that things like Attack on Titan or Demon Slayer, it has a very high watch rate because these are the things that people can watch together as a family.
And what is the most watched films by Indonesian audience in the last three years? Is it,
I would say it's still like horror, thriller, action. Yeah, anything with those three, as long as it has a very interesting storyline, it will work quite well in Indonesia.
Okay. For me, it's because the one who still ask question. For me, because for the first 2 years, the cinema were closed, or if it's open. People like me, I don't want to go to the cinema in that time because it's very risky. So I prefer to watch and at home. And the second one, if I am a fan, I want to watch it again and again, okay, to do my film analysis or just for fun or just something like that. For me, yeah. Coba Luciana Geraldine, please speak up.
Yeah.
I think it's yeah.
Hello. So I asked about blockbusters because I'm actually a cinephile, and of course I prefer watching streaming because it's easier. But I have another friend, like as a cinephile, my type of movie that I like to watch is not blockbusters. Definitely not blockbusters, but those award-winning films, usually what do you call that? Like standalone films with great directors. But I got a friend that loves to watch like typically blockbusters movie, and they strictly watch on cinema, and especially the Batman, like the new Batman release, he even watched it like twice. And for Spider-Man No Way Home, he watched it like twice or thrice in the cinema. So yeah, I think there's like a certain like some factor that you can take away from blockbuster viewing in the theaters. And how do you plan to like compensate that experience, seeing the movie in the theaters with all the other fans, by moving the blockbuster to a streaming service? Although I know it's already been done, like let's say the Red Notice, right? Ryan Reynolds, The Rock, and Gal Gadot. It's a big hit. Although, like from a filmmaker's perspective, I gotta say it's not it's not so good from that perspective. But it's still a success, right? So how do you compensate for that? Yeah.
I actually don't think that there is a way to exactly compensate it, unless like you have a very good sound system in your house. But I think it's in the end, like for example, me, I also watched Spider-Man twice in the cinema because it is just that good. I just really like it. But in the end, when it comes back to when it's available on the OTT, I just want to rewatch it again. So there are just people who, or like I say, like when they want to watch it together with the whole family, usually watching on at home, it becomes one of their option because they don't really have to pay tickets for everyone. But of course, I would say like with some of the titles that you fully supported, like myself, I watched it twice in the cinema. So which is why from the beginning I said I don't really think that there is an exact conflict between OTT and actually cinemas, because I think that people who enjoy watching in the cinemas will still go to the cinemas, and people who want to stay home and just binge watch and watch a lot of things will try to go to the OTT way. So actually they're both very different. So I don't think that can be exactly compared like that. Yeah, so there are people who feel like, but I want to watch Spider-Man only in the big screens in the cinemas. Yes, though they will not watch the OTT, but you will have people who feel like, but I want to rewatch this thing again and again. So, I want to, like, I think it's a better choice for me to watch it at home. Yeah.
Yeah, I think every people has their own needs, yeah, or their, because sometimes, yeah. For example, if you are a cinephile, probably movie or Canopy are better choice because all of the Canopy of movie, something like that. That the films on Canopy or movie, they are not available anywhere, particularly in something like that, yeah. But if you are more into the new films and you want to watch it again, and sometimes we have the like Spider-Man is last only 2 months and then gone. Now, if you want to watch it again, you can go to OTT.
Right. So the market is like for the viewers who are rewatching, right? The favorite films.
And
that's actually true.
Rewatch, it's just that the behavior is a little bit different. Like you have people who would go after the cinema experience. But you just go.
And the second,
like I watched Max like 5 times. There's definitely a market for that. Yeah, you're right.
And thank you. And the other thing, good about OTTs are the rediscovery of old films. Yeah, sometimes me as a film scholar, I cannot find the old films unless on YouTube or pirated one. But on CatPlay, I can watch old films as well. Yeah, old films by Roger Corman or So that's the rediscovery of old films. That's good because we can have access to those old classical films. Yeah. Okay. Any other question? Yeah. I would like to. Does Sketchplay has multi-language for the audio, like Chinese audio or English sub for all movies offered?
I think sub is available. Actually, English or Indonesian sub is available. But for audio, actually, we still try to stick with the studio rules. Actually, for some studios, they actually don't allow us to actually just provide subs like that. So it actually based on like some of the, especially dub. We actually have more subs than dub. Actually, I think right now most of our films we still try to keep it in the original English ones, and because a lot of content deals are that way, that the studios would want to remain them as originals. So of course, like, you know, when you say like Netflix, they have a lot. It's probably because like some of these things are produced by them is their original stuff. So they actually they can, you know, make a lot of different dub or subs out of it, and they don't have that much restrictions because it's produced by their studios. Yeah.
Tapi is 15 minutes left, probably one or two more questions, quick question. Probably you can like speak up or raise hand. Anybody? Ini anak film nih, mana nih anak film? Ayo anak film. Okay, film students, please, because you already learn something about OTTs and new media. Okay. Okay, yeah. Let me ask some questions. Oh, I think there's new message. Oh, no. Okay. Because I'm still wondering about the early access, because sometimes you put the films at the same week or the same day with the theatrical release, and that's very interesting because sometimes we don't have time to go there, or we are too scared because so it's like, do you have any how you, because not every OTT did that kind of thing, because usually they wait for 3 months to get the films, and so I think you have like a strong connection with the studios or something, as well as the BBCs, because I did my PhD in UK, so I miss the BBC and and then bang, there are many many humans and then that's interesting for me. So do you have any? Is there any exclusive contract to for the films that for the early access films, or because
definitely
it's like difficult to get, right? Or
actually no? It will be based on like actually for all the studios, they will have their own preference and policy when they want to have that on the OTT. For example, Spider-Man, it will be available on Catch-Play next week, and from the because Spider-Man is from a Sony studio, they will actually make this the same day globally, so the whole globe will have Spider-Man on their OTT on this date is the same. So actually all movies deals, or the pricing, or when they want to be available, or is it early access, or for example Spider-Man was not early access, it's already like from a bit like I would say 1 month or 2 months from the cinemas already. So we will have to actually follow the studio's policy, or how they want to do it. So each movies are actually we have to rediscuss with them like movie by movie, because there are movies like they really care about, like Spider-Man. So they have more restrictions on how they want to promote the movies, what kind of banners you need to use. Yeah, it's actually in the end, like, because the whole productions or the whole IP belongs to them, so we will still try to follow. We have to follow their regulations, including when it's on board, how, what other pricing and etc. like that.
Thank you. Probably this is the last question. Yeah, is Catch Play Plus provide a personalized suggestion of a movie, series, or anime for each user, as each person may have a genre that she or he does not good at, like horror movie or for example. I think it's about algorithm, yeah, or something.
Yes. Actually, we do have a section on the kind of things that we try to guess at things that you will like, and we will propose it there first, like recommendations for you. But of course, if it's for new users, since there is no exact reaction yet, if you, let's say you just come into Catch Play, you are completely new, and of course then we have to start actually understanding these users, like steps by steps. So of course, like, personalized experience is very important, but there are just cases that you cannot make it that way, because maybe there are people who turn down, like, they would say, like, you cannot track me, I don't allow cookies, there are things like that. So in that case, what we do is, like, we try to, like, put a lot of different genres on our homepage, and we try to switch them very frequently, so that we can make sure that when you come in, if you scroll a little bit, at least you will find something that you really like to watch. So we will not have, the whole homepage of just horror and thriller, just because we think that a lot of users like horror and thrillers, because like you say, there are people who don't like that, right? So we try to put in a lot of different curations, a lot of different themes. Like, maybe we have a whole sections called the disaster, so there are people who like to watch things like Days After Tomorrow, Greenland, these kind of disaster movies. There are people who like to watch criminal movies like FBI, etc. So we make sure that our homepage is actually full of different type of curation. So when you slide, we hope that there is something that you find interesting that you can actually watch. So when it comes to the curation, it's really also the thing that we do by daily basis. Every day we'll have to check, like, which kind of movies do they get a good click-through rate. So meaning, if I see this movie, do I actually click it, or do I just ignore it? If it happens that this movie kind of, it seems like it's not getting as much traction, we'll have to switch the places around, move some different curations around, and eventually get the kind of movie list that get the most clicks. So again, that's like the exciting things about OTT, because you can make a lot of decision based on the data that you actually see, and then it's actually instant.
Usually I just do the kind of window shopping, then I just click the heart, the like, so then automatically the film will be put on my film, my chosen films, and then if I click the film, there are information including the director, the actor. So I just, for example, if I like Liam Neeson, I just click Liam Neeson, and you will get the list of Liam Neeson film, something like that. Or Catch Play also has a very various kind of categories, animation from Pixar, live, and so many film, including horror. Is it like psychological horror? Is it a slasher?
Horror,
so many, and then zombie, vampire, and then it's and all we can do is just click the like, and then the film will be put in our own chosen films. And that's so we can do our own programming, curation. That's the nice thing about the Catch Play, I think. Okay, I think that's all. I will thank you very much, Miss Penny Tan, because we still have 10 minutes. Probably I will give it back to the committee for the in Asian thing, take picture and so on. I thank you for the participants to ask questions, and I think you are going to have another surprise announcement.
Right.
Okay.
Because of this is actually Ramadan, and actually Catchplay have a very small Ramadan campaign where we actually allows anyone to watch Catchplay for 3 days unlimitedly for free. So I'm just actually going to type the promo code down there on the chat.
Okay. Is it 3 days in a row? Yeah, it's 3 days,
Yeah, it's 3 days in a row, and these promotions will end by the end of April. So by any time let's say on this weekend you feel like you want to watch something, feel free to insert that promo code for free, and then your account will be activated for 3 days for free. So it's called, actually very straightforward, it's called Ramadan 2022.
It's easy to
and actually there is one thing that a lot of people find it interesting that I think I can explain a little bit, is that a lot of people would ask, like, I already subscribe to Catchplay, why do I have to pay extra to watch things like Spider-Man or like Wonder Woman? They're just things that you have to pay even though you have already subscribed. And there are times that people just don't understand, like, how does that work? Actually, this all depends on the studio. This is a studio policy where we have to actually focus, where we actually have no choice but to follow the way that they want to work. So technically, of the major studios like Sony's, for example, like Spider-Man's, you have Warner Bros, like, DC titles, Paramount, like, let's say, Quiet Place. Usually these big studios, they want their titles to be rented every single time you watch. So meaning that they don't really want the title to be watched unlimitedly. And so these titles usually will have to be rented per view. So there will be chances that you find, like, I already have this account, but why do I have to pay to watch Quiet Place 2? Yeah, just to let everyone know, like, that's just kind of the way that the studios work. And then when it comes to the world of content or the deal of content, sometimes the distributors like us, we have to follow the exact rules or wishes on the studios, because they have the whole right to decide how they want to market it, because in the end, that's actually their content.
But actually, if we have IndiHome, there are many free movies, free movies you to watch, in Catchplay.
So actually on Catchplay, I would say, like, there may be like 80-20s, 80% of the movies is the movies that you can watch when you already subscribe. Maybe around like maybe 10 to 20% are the movies that you still have to pay extra even though you have already subscribed. Yeah.
Okay.
But most series and etc., they are already like included in the subscription package.
Okay. Last but not least, the committee asked me for you to pick the 2 best questions, so they will get the e-money voucher.
Okay. I think the best question goes to I think it was it Matthew who asked 3 questions?
Yeah,
I think that
Matthew.
Those were like really good.
Matthew.
So I think it's Matthew. And then the second one, I think maybe I'll leave it to Mas Eki. You can actually pick it, Pak Eki.
The second one is about let me see. The first question, Salvaro, apa namanya? Masih ada nggak? Is there any, the first, the one who Salvarel, because he was the one who asked the first question. Okay, congratulations to Salvarel and Matthew, Nanti the committee will contact you, Committee, Ibu Jesse will send you the link privately. Okay. Thank you, Miss Penita. Give a big applause from the reaction. Kita nggak. Thank you very much. That we have so many, enrichment. I will get back to Miss Jessie Valencia, the MC. Thank you once again, Miss Penita and Catchplay team for being here and sharing.
Really good to talk to you guys too.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Eki Imanjaya, for leading the discussion. Participants, that marks the end of this session. Thank you for your kind attention and active participation in this discussion. And on behalf of BINUS University, allow me to express our most sincerest gratitude to our speakers, Ms. Pinitan. Thank you for allowing us to learn from you today. And we also would like to thank you all the participants for their kind participation and contributions to the fruitful discussion. And congratulations to Matthew and Salvarel for winning the e-wallet. Please do not leave the room yet, as you will be contacted through the private chat to complete a dedicated form so we can send you the e-wallet. Well, students, before we end the session, let's take a photo together.
Yes.
And is there any, will help us with the photo session.
Is there any exit form or something? Yeah?
Yes, there will be an exit ticket in the end of the session.
Exit ticket, oh yeah. Okay, yes. Take picture time.
Yeah, will be
one of the most.
Okay, please turn on your camera and I will count from 1, 2, 3. Okay, a moment please. I think one more time, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dita, for helping us for the photo session. Once again, thank you, Ms. Pinitan, for creating such a memorable learning experience for all of us today. You may leave the room anytime. Thank you so much for the amazing and insightful information. So, BINUSians, that was a presentation on distribution of Taiwanese cinema and series in Indonesia streaming services from our guest speaker, Ms. Pinitan. It has been a great pleasure being with you all. I wish you had a great time and found the session useful. If you want to participate in other live sessions like this, please go visit our website on global.binus.ac.id/iWeek. Now on your screen, you have the link to the exit ticket. Again, please complete the exit ticket to record your attendance. You may screenshot the link and QR code now to visit it later, or you can click the link sent in the public chat column. The form will be closed by the end of the day. Once again, thank you and see you in the next session.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Pak Eki and Jessie.
Thank you. Thank you, Penny. I hope we can still collaborate in the near future, yeah. Because
definitely.
Me and Bobby are thinking about doing something else, like film review or something. So we will talk later.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you can leave anytime now. Yeah, thank you.
I will close the room about 2 minutes from now.
Yeah. Keep in touch. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Pak Eki, saya punya pertanyaan.
Ya.
Ini yang arrange tuh BINUS Internasional ya? BINUS apa tuh?
IO, International
Office.
Okay. Ya.
Itu BINUS tuh ada UKM untuk film gitu nggak?
Ke HIM aja, HIM. Ini bukan anak sini siapa nih?
Ini Matthew.
Iya kan ke HIM. Tapi kalau film dulu pernah ada film klub, tapi udah nggak aktif. Paling dekat ya itu fotografi. Dulu ada namanya Cinema Paradiso waktu di Senayan. Sekarang udah nggak aktif. Aktifin aja kalau mau kayak. Adanya HIM. Mungkin bagian dari HIM aja, himpunan mahasiswa film.
Oke.
Tapi kalau mau nggak cuma film, nggak cuma jurusan film, coba aja tanya ke SASC apa SADC ya, student center, ya, gimana caranya UKM.
Oke, baik Pak. Terima kasih.
Ya, makasih. Saya live ya.
For Matthew and Salvarel, have you have you filled in the link for the e-wallet?
Yes, I'm doing it right now.
I'm doing it right now. Yeah.
Okay, saya close ya, Jessie. Thank you ya, Jess.
Okay, thank you juga, Miss.
Good job. Bye. Selamat siang. Happy